here's the deal. There's two things I want to cover. First of all, let's just all start from this place of acknowledging that there are things that start as a seed, and until the seed pops through the ground, we don't know what it's going to be. And so some things take time, and I think I've been extremely hard on myself, where I'm sitting there going, I wish I would have seen that, wish I would have known that that's what that was going to be. And I was just given this picture where it's like, well, yeah, there are things that start as seeds, and until they grow into something, you don't know what it's going to become. And the parable that exemplifies this is the wheat and the chaff. Even the wheat and the chaff, so the wheat and the weeds, like one is actually like valuable, what the other is just a weed. They even look the same at young stages. They look the same, and it even instructs that you just let them grow together. Like, you don't go trying to attack it or like deal with it at the seedling level. So let's all just take that wisdom and apply it to our lives, and forgive ourselves for not knowing like who somebody was going to be or what the situation was going to become. And then the second piece of this that was just kind of reinforced today is that you have to take the leap, make the change, make the sacrifice, whatever you want to look at it as, like whatever the scary thing is to do, you have to choose that. And as soon as you have chosen it within your heart for real, the truth, will prove you. The truth knows you. So the truth will reveal itself through what happens next. But the scary decision always happens before the outcome that you're ultimately wanting. So how do I explain this in a better way? I'm just going to give some examples. So for me, it used to be, there was a time in my life where I did not like the level of dependence that I had on like intimacy with other people, even though I wasn't even in a relationship. I'm like, I don't want to have to do this. Like, I feel like my body is bossing me around and demanding something of me that I don't want actually. Like, my soul doesn't want this, but like my flesh, my body is like saying that I need this, and I don't really want to. Like, and as soon as I felt my body pulling me to do something that I cognitively didn't want to do, that's when I was like, okay, like what the what? And I actually had a conversation with God. I was like, why do you even care? Like, why can't you just let me do this? This is my one thing. That's my stress relief. Let it be my thing, And then what I heard back was like, do you not trust me that I can give you something better than this struggle that you're in? And I said, okay, actually I do trust you that you could do that. So I handed it over. And when I really, 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 really handed it over, and not that I was ever perfect about it for the rest of my life, but when I really handed it over, all of a sudden that self-control was given to me, because truly in my heart, I gave up the thing that I thought I wanted, that I thought I needed, that I thought was my freedom. And in turn, I actually was given true freedom, real freedom. And so that's the one thing. And same with like any sort of like relationship that turns out to not be the thing. Like making the decision to trust, have faith, to trust that the better thing will be there, or just straight up that I'll be sustained. It doesn't even have to be replaced by something different. It's just like trust that it will be okay. Making that, you have to make the decision though before the initiation will happen, before the catalyst is even going to be allowed to be released for the better thing, for the sustenance, for the exceedingly abundantly to be released. And so anyway, the two takeaways is, one, sometimes we don't see what a seed is going to be until it grows, and we're not going to know what it is until it grows. And so we can forgive ourselves for not being able to identify something based at seed form, that it was going to grow into being a weed as opposed to being fruit. Sometimes seeds are freaking liars. Sometimes seeds wish they were something different, and I don't know, that's beyond me. Second thing, and don't let for me, my toxic empathy has been making excuses for seeds for my whole life that are weeds, and I'm going, well, maybe if I just like love you better, or let you try harder, or maybe if I just help you more, you'll be a totally different seed. I don't understand it. It like really bleeps with my head, because I'm like, well, didn't the Spirit of God promise that everything could be transformed? But that's where it's a one-on-one, you versus you. Nobody can do it for you. You have to choose it in that seriousness of your heart, in that commitment moment where it's like, are you really willing to give up this thing that you use to hobble along? Or do you secretly want to have that and the solution, and you're not going to give that up until you see the guaranteed solution, you know? And that's where this is just like the epitome. This is like the baseline. This is the foundational gospel of what faith means, like what trust means. Is like, I'm trusting that if I give up genuinely, authentically, from the deep, deep pits of my ugliest and prettiest and the wholeness of my heart, if I say I really trust that there could be something better and different, and I'm going to resolve it for myself. Like, that's ultimately, it's like me versus me and me for me. Like, I resolved that for myself because I was sick of living that life in my soul. You know, my soul in this body was sick of doing that, like being bossed around by this vessel. So, and that can be applied to anything, like any sort of, you know, dependency or bad habits. But you have to take, the second part of this message is, the seeds, you know, sometimes they just are what they are. They have to work that out in their own self, in their own life. You can't do it for them. But forgive yourself for not knowing what they were, because they conveyed that they were something that they're not. Even if they, in the best of their intentions and in their own self-deceit, believe that they're something they're not, okay? And I'm sure we've all been there in one way or another. Sometimes we don't even know that we're not something because we didn't realize there's other levels to become. There's always more levels, just so you know. And then the second part of this download is, you have to take the leap. You have to make the change. You have to make the cut. You have to bite the bullet, make the sacrifice, choose the hard thing, do the painful thing. That's what, you know, in the Christian world, that's what he was saying when he was like, take up your cross. Like, he's like, it's not going to feel good at first, but yet for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. Like, he endured the tough sacrifice, knowing that there was going to be joy on the other side. And that's trust. And that's where he ultimately had to believe in the Father's promise, in the word, that this was going to be worth something. He's like, please tell me, like, if there's a different way, can you, like, take it, you know? He even had that negotiation that all people have. Like, can I just have my cake and eat it too? Which, you know, that whole thing, that doesn't even make sense. But the idea, you know, like, I want my vice, and I want my satisfaction, you know? I want to be satisfied, but until I'm satisfied, I'm going to keep doing this vice that's a substitute for true satisfaction. So anywho's, you have to bite the bullet, and only the Spirit of Truth. The Spirit of Truth knows you, sees you, feels you. The Spirit of Truth will honor you as soon as it's truly your commitment, deep in the realest real of yourself. That's why it says that he looks at the heart. The Creator, like, knows your heart. And in the other language, you know, like, all of creation is programmed. The universe is programmed in a way to work with you, to initiate, to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. It doesn't have to be afraid, but, like, how scary is it when you realize you're about to give up your vice? This is the thing that you've been depending on to get by, to get through, you know, like, it's your security blanket. It's the thing that makes you get through to the next thing, makes you feel better for a second. And it's pretty scary to let go of those things. So maybe that's the fear and trembling part. But ultimately, it's the choosing to take that leap in trust, and even just out of sheer desperation. But whatever it is, let the commitment be real, because when it is, that's when the shift happens, and the level up happens, the deliverance happens, the freedom comes through, and it's a wonderful, like, experience that's always worth it on the other side. And how many times have we made that one of those transactions where we traded our faith, our belief, our trust for some level of, like, freedom, like, whatever it may be. And how many times have we been like, oh my gosh, if I had only known that was going to be on the other side, I would have done that so much sooner. So do it today. Let it be now. Cut off those weeds that said they were a seed of promise, that said they were a seed of fruit-bearing contribution to your life. And if they're not, Release them to God. I don't care what man-made structures, I don't care what religion has told you. I do not care anymore about that. I lived through something that's so real. What I've come to ultimately realize, religion can't save you. It's a one-on-one experience with the Spirit of truth. Either it's you versus you in it, you know, like nobody can save you for you. At the end of it all, it's going to be you accounting for your life. And for any person here that thinks they're doing somebody a service by helping them hobble along and by some codependent, like, dysfunctional relationship, you are actually preventing them from encountering their level of free will that they need in order to actually level up, to actually grow, to actually transform. And I don't think that at the end, trust me, and I'm all about being faithful, like, to our promises. I was like holding on to, you know, a runaway horse that was like kicking me, you know, in the face, and I was holding on for the sake of covenant, for the sake of promise, for the sake of being faithful. All I want is to be found faithful, you know, and there's a time and a place for that. And I believe that it really is like it's a currency exchange as well. But there comes a point where you realize it's time to let go so that you and your family and whoever you're called to actually serve in this thing, whoever your voice is meant to reach, can actually be reached, because you finally decided, like, this ain't the thing. You said you were choosing, you know, the Spirit of truth with me, and now you're choosing the spirit of my enablement into your life. And whatever, you know, however I help you hobble along, and it works out for both of us because we have some sick narcissist, empath, like toxic or codependent thing going on. So anyway, that's the word right now, and be blessed, be well, be free. How do you stop this? Do you push the X?